Welcome to Hey Therapist. I'm your host, Leslie Ross. With me is my producer, Jay Wesley Lindley. Let's get mental.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hey Therapist. Today, we are going to talk about love bombing. And I'm going to go ahead and apologize for my voice and any sniffles you might hear. I have picked up a little bit of an allergy thing happening because spring is springing and then it gets cold again and it's just trying to kill me. So I am going to keep moving and we're just going to talk about love bombing. So what we notice when someone is love bombing, because we hear this term a lot, right? Like it's something that's come out in the past few months, whatever. It's something that's come around in the last, I'd say, year or so. It's a hot button phrase that people like to use, and it is a real thing that narcissists tend to do. It is very, very real that we see where they are so invested in having a relationship or being with someone that they want to love bomb and they want to use it in a negative way. Because there are people out there who genuinely just show a lot of love from the beginning. It's very different than a love bomb, because a love bomb means there's something bad coming once it lands, right? Like, so they're going to send all this love and it's going to explode and it's going to come back to haunt you. But when you have someone who genuinely just loves, they may come on heavy. They may give you, the praise. They may give you the attention. They may give you the compliments. They may show you who they are. They may tell you how they feel right up front. And if you're not used to this kind of relationship, because I myself have been accused of love bombing someone. They're like, oh, I thought you were love bombing me because you were so upfront about everything. But it's just because I'm upfront about everything. I have had terrible, terrible relationships. I've had people treat me poorly. I've had relationships where I didn't know where the other person stood or how they felt about me. I've had those relationships where you're just guessing, or I have been the person that's had my walls up and then the person's like, well, I didn't, then the person, calls it off or whatever it is. And then if I talk to them later, like, well, I didn't know where you stood. I didn't know if you even liked me like that. I didn't know if you cared about me. And it's because I had a wall up. So for me, when you get me and I'm all in, and you're going to know that. You're going to know how I feel about you. You're going to know my ins and outs. You're going to know how I work. Now, versus a love bomber who's going to share all of their details up front. They're going to just offload trauma dump so they can try to trauma bond with you. You're not going to get all of that. But if I'm interested, if I'm into you, if we've talked enough, you're going to have a basic understanding of me. You're going to know that if I say I love you, I love you. I've thought about the ins and outs. I have weighed all the options. I've looked inside myself. I have had enough experience in life to know if I love someone or if I don't love someone. And if I love you, I love you. And if I love you, I'm going to tell you I love you. Most of the time, I'm going to know it's going to come back to me. Like, it's not that I'm pushing someone to commit too fast. I'm not pushing, like, it's going to be matched energy, or I'm not going to be in that relationship. So I think that's where we find the difference in love bombing and just someone who loves. Is a love bomber is going to come on really hot and heavy, and their intent is to control. Their intent is to push a relationship. And the way you're going to know really if it's true or if they are just love bombing you is how consistent are they with it? How long do they keep this up? And do you feel the same way? Because again, I think when you have matched energies, when you are hot and heavy in the beginning, both of you are hot and heavy in the beginning. But if one person is hot and heavy and they're pushing and they're pushing and they're pushing for you to tell them that they love you, and they're pushing for you to commit to a relationship, and they're pushing for you to share all of your details, those true colors are going to start coming through. They're going to start not being true to their words. Words and actions aren't going to match. And when it's genuine, the gifts are going to be meaningful. They're going to be thoughtful. The actions are going to be meaningful. They're going to be thoughtful. With someone who is love bombing you, the gifts and the meanings and all of those things, they're probably going to be generic. And it may be something you told them you didn't like. Maybe you told them you didn't like getting flowers, but they bring you flowers and you're like, oh, okay, thank you. And maybe you've only mentioned once that you don't like getting flowers. So you think, well, okay. So you remind them, oh, that's nice. But and I really don't want you spending money on flowers. They're not something that I really truly enjoy. I mean, you're grateful at the time. You bring this conversation up later because if it's genuine, then you don't want to really hurt their feelings. But if it's genuine, later on, you can have the conversation. You got me flowers today and I love them. I love the thoughtfulness of it because most people like flowers. I'm not a flower kind of gal. Could you just go get me, a couple of candy bars that I really like, or bring me a soda to work, or whatever it is? Like, those are the things that are meaningful to me. Can you jump in my Amazon cart and check out something in there? Like, those are the things that are meaningful to me. I don't want you wasting money because you may see things like that as frivolous and wasteful, and you don't want them wasting money on that. So they don't do it again. But if they are someone who is a love bomber, they're going to get their feelings hurt by it. They're going to seem really put out by it. They're going to act like you are just denying them and you're making it a big deal and they are doing for you and you should just appreciate it regardless. And that's just not fair. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to the relationship. It's just not fair. One of the things that they're also going to do is use lots of phrases really, really fast. They may be over the top and feel uncomfortable to you. And that's another way you know that something is just off here. And sometimes people do develop feelings fast, but again, it's usually a mutual thing and they're not making you feel bad about not having the same feelings. We've all seen Jerry Maguire, or most people have, or at least heard the phrase, you complete me. Maybe you watched The Office and that's where you saw it. But, this is one of those phrases that is just over the top in the very beginning. You're the perfect one. I'll never meet anyone like you. I'll never have anyone again if you go. I'll never love like this again. And we're talking about, a couple of days in, a week in, whatever. Like, it's crazy where you've just done normal dating things. Maybe you've just talked a little bit on the phone. Maybe you've gone out on a few dates and they're ready to move in. You're not there yet and they're ready to throw it all in. This is someone who might not be the most stable to be in a relationship. And, if we look at, I think when I said The Office and it made me think about that, if you are an Office watcher, which I am an avid Office watcher, Michael Scott is a perfect example of someone who just wants love. He wants to be loved. He wants love. He goes all in. There's the episode where he does the tour of asking, the girls, and it's after he's met Holly and he realizes that Holly was real. The other ones he were trying to make fit. He wasn't happy in those relationships. He just wanted a relationship. He wasn't happy. He was just someone who threw his feelings out there for the wrong reasons too. He wanted to make it work so bad that he sacrificed parts of himself. He sacrificed his needs. He sacrificed all of those things. And those are other red flags, but not what we're talking about today. We're talking about those love bombers, those people who are going to use what you tell them for control. They're going to take what you've said and get all of your information in the beginning. They're going to act like they want to know everything about you. They are incredibly interested, too interested in what has gone on in your life, in what trauma you have experienced in your past relationships, and what you've done, your deepest, darkest secrets that you don't tell anyone because they want you to trust them. They want you to be their person. They want you to do all of these things. But then they may use it against you. If someone is being too intense, if they're being too personal, if they're really coming on too hot, and you're like, ooh, I don't like this. This is icky to me. This feels wrong. Stick with that emotion, because if it feels wrong, it probably is wrong. Now, if it feels wrong because you're not used to someone liking you like that, if it feels wrong because you haven't had a good relationship in a long time, and it makes you nervous to let down your walls, but you feel good about this person, you feel safe with this person, you know what you need, you know what you want, You've put in the work, you've been alone, or you've done whatever you need to do to be in the right headspace for a relationship. You just haven't had one. And then someone comes along and they make you feel that way people should feel in the beginning. The rainbows and puppies, and you're smiling at your phone like a fool, and you're just glowing when you talk about them, and you want to spend all of your time with them, even though you know that's not realistic, and you don't do that because that's not normal. But you want them to be involved in every aspect of your life. You can see a future with this person, even though you may have only known them a short amount of time. You can see a future with them, because there's plenty of people that you go out with that you're just like, yeah, no, you're nice, you're cool. I mean, it would probably work, but I don't get the flutters. Like, there's nothing there. They're not making me feel that way. They're not making me feel that love, that safety, that comfort. So you don't pursue that. But then when you find someone you really care about, you pursue it, and you're open and you're honest and you're free with your words, and you tell them exactly how they feel. And for someone who isn't healthy, on the other side of that, it may scare them. It may scare them because they haven't had a healthy relationship in a long time. It may scare them because no one has ever been that open and honest about their emotions, or they have been the victim of a narcissist, and so they're a little distrustful of what you're saying. But if they feel the same way about you, then they're going to see that consistency. They're going to see that you're in it, that you're truly in it, and you're going to show those imperfections. Even though, like I said, when I'm in, I'm all in. If I allow myself to get to that point where I'm all in, I'm all in. But I'm not perfect. It's not rainbows and flowers. I get pissy, and I get insecure, and I get attention seeking, and I need validation, and I need all of those things. And that's, different than someone who is with a narcissist. With a narcissist, they want that constant validation. Like, you feel like you are always reassuring them. They're going to tell you something. They're like, well, what about me? And they're going to ask for it. They're going to say, what about me? What about me? Like, their self-esteem is very, very, very low. And it's not just insecurities about relationships. It's not insecurities about themselves. They just want you to fluff their pillow all the time. You need to be the one that's telling them everything that's great about them all the time. And if they're giving you compliments, they want it matched with a compliment. Whereas if you're just trying to be healthy in a relationship, you're going to give compliments. You're going to talk to your partner. You're going to share those things. But that doesn't mean that you need to hear the exact things back. Like, if I tell you I'm in a relationship, or if you tell someone, listen, I want to have a relationship with you, I don't want to see other people, I don't want to do those things, and they say, okay, I'm not quite there yet, but they may say, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. Like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for it to be that serious. Then they, may not be the one for you, but also they may just not be ready for that. That doesn't mean they don't care about you. That doesn't mean they don't want that. And then it goes back to, what do you want? Do you want to be in that relationship where someone else may be still going out with other people or doing things that aren't sure about you? How soon are you asking for that? What's going on with that? But if your energy is matching, and if you are all on the same page, then you should probably know when it's time. It's kind of like when you see people proposing and you hear someone say, well, I hope they say yes. If you're proposing to someone and you're not sure if they're going to say yes, you should not be proposing to that person. Like, there should be a security about that. There should be no questions within, especially the people that know you, if you're going to say yes. And I think relationships proceed the same way if you're healthy. Now, if you are someone who is out there Michael Scotting it, and you're just seeking love and seeking love and seeking love, and someone gives you this attention, it's why individuals do get in relationships with narcissistic people. It's why people do end up with love bombers and people that are abusive. And it's because you're out there seeking so strong, you accept what comes along instead of going, this doesn't feel right, or this isn't what I need, or I don't feel the same, but they love me so much. That's not healthy. It's just not healthy. With our love bombers, they are going to come in hot and heavy. They're going to dump their personal details too soon, too. They may share all this private information so quick to establish either a trauma bond or empathy. They want to make you feel like they've never told this to anyone. And they will probably say, I've never shared this with anyone, when in fact, they've shared it with everyone. They've shared it with everyone that they have dated. This is their routine. This is their spiel. This is how they get you. Because we like to feel special. We like to feel like we know something about someone that they haven't shared before. We like to feel that we are unique and that we're going into this secret world, and they want to make it that you are like you're more connected than you really are. They also, like I said, are wanting that constant validation with that. So they're going to tell you these things and they want you to say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that that person did that to you. I'm so sorry that you've been hurt like that. Within that validation, a lot of times they also want to reassure and have reassurance and make you believe that they are the victim of all of their relationships. Someone who has been in relationships and who is telling you about relationships and it's always someone else's fault. They are never the bad guy. They never take accountability. They never act like they had a role in the ending of the relationship. They never say, well, yeah, I mean, this was happening and I realized it. I should have backed off, or I should have handled this differently, or I should have talked to them about it differently. That's a big red flag, because no one is perfect in a relationship. And if they are always the victim of every relationship they've ever had. Now, I'm not saying sometimes you don't have a good run of bad luck and you just keep meeting the wrong people and getting kind of in these dating situationships. And then you're like, what the hell? But then again, most people can say, I should have known better. I saw it coming, but I stayed, or I did this, but I stayed. And so, a lot of times that's the accountability piece of being in a bad relationship. But if they're just like, yes, I was there and they did this and then it was all their fault, or was it? Like, I need more information. If you start asking questions and they get upset with you about asking questions, or they're, getting defensive, why are you trying to blame me for this? Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's a big red flag. Like, we need to figure out what's going on with that. They also will have that intense level of love. They're going to remind you how much they love you. And it's not going to be, you've both now said, I love you, because you also felt it or something. And you say it at the end of the phone call, or you say something silly and they're like, oh my gosh, I just love you. You may not even be comfortable saying I love you yet, or you've said it because they've said it, but they are constantly reminding you of how much they love you in every conversation. They're posting it on social media. They're tagging you in all of the things. They're saying those phrases like I talked about, like, I could never live without you. You're the only one for me. I would die if you weren't around. Like, it's just so intense and overwhelming. And if you're feeling like it's overwhelming, then you're not feeling the same way. And that should be your red flag right there. It should be matched energy. If everyone is on the same page and they say, you know what, I love you. I am looking at you and I love you. And they're like, yeah, I love you too. That's different than when they say, you know what, 2 days in or on your second date. And again, you're not talking very often. You're just kind of chatting by text and like, oh my God, I just love you. That's a little scary. That is love bombing. That is borderline personality. That is trauma. That is something else that they're bonding with you. It's not about you. They don't love you because they don't know you. If they're saying, I love you, and you go, but you don't even know me. Like, what is my favorite color? What's my mom's name? If they don't know these basic information about you, if they don't know where you grew up or how you grew up. And again, they're going to push for that information early on. But if they don't know those things, if you stop and go, wait, you don't really even know me. You know maybe the feeling of me, but you don't know me. It can be overwhelming and excessive. And that's when you may need to just pump the brakes a little bit and figure out what's going on. Because with that, they are going to start pressuring you to commit. They're going to start pressuring you to make it official. They're going to come over one weekend and stay, and they're never going to leave. And you're like, oh, you're staying here now. Okay. And it's just all going to be so fast. And the idea of commitment for you may be great. Like that may be what you're looking for. You're looking for a partner. You're looking for someone to be with for a lifetime. You're looking for that person. You're out there on the hunt. And it is hard out there in the streets. Trust me. I know it's hard out there. When someone is exhibiting these signs, it can move too fast. And there's no time frames on relationships. Again, if you're both on the same page, you may have spent time really getting to know someone in person or on the phone and having lots of in-depth conversations, and you just have that connection and you love them and you could see a future with them, but you're still not going to just jump in, but you might. And if you do and you're both on the same page, that's great. There's no time frames in relationships. It may be a week, it may be a year, and you're getting married, but you're both on the same page. One of you is not feeling pressured to commit to something you are not ready for. And if you're feeling pressured to commit to something you are not ready for, that should make you stop and think and go, oh, I don't know, this seems weird. And they'll also use it as a tactic. I want to push you. I'm going to push and see if I can get you to agree to be monogamous, to go off of the dating sites, to be just with me within the first couple dates after you met them, to say, I don't want to see anybody else. I don't want you to see anybody else. How do you feel about that? And you may be like, oh, wait, I just met you. I don't know. But they're pushing and pushing and pushing. So they're going to use this as a test. And if you give into that, then they know that they can further test you. They know that they can further push that into further commitments, into all of these things. And then if you push back, they may take something that you told them and use it against you. So if you say, I don't think I'm quite ready for that. I don't think that that's something that we need to do, that I'm comfortable with. They may say, well, you're just saying that because I remember you told me in your past relationship, so-and-so did this to you. And now you're just scared to commit to me and you're going to miss out on a great thing because you're afraid and da-da-da-da. And you're so in your head about that because you've already thought about those options. You've already thought about how hard it was and what went wrong in that past relationship and what you might have done wrong, that they can be pretty convincing to be like, you know what? You might be right. You might be onto something. Maybe I'm not letting you in because of whatever happened to me, against your gut feelings, against your spidey senses, against all of those things. You say, okay, let's give her a go. Let's see what's going to happen. It may be too much for you, but also you may commit to it because you don't want to miss out on what ifs. What if this is great? What if this is my person? What if I'm just being scared? Well, you kind of know those things. You should know yourself. And if you don't know yourself well enough to be able to make those calls, then you don't need to be in a relationship anyway. You need to figure out yourself first, because there is nothing worse. Being alone is not fun. Being alone really is unenjoyable when it comes to not having a partner. But it's really worse when you have someone behind you it's way worse when you have someone beside you, someone on your phone, someone calling you, someone doing these things that you are annoyed by. That makes it so much worse. No matter what happens with the love bombers, these people who are manipulating relationships, you're going to feel like they just know you so well. They may take the time to, like I said, they're going to ask all the questions, and you may feel so grateful that they want to know about you. You may feel so grateful that they are learning about you and they want to know all of the things, but they pay very, very close attention. They're really, really socially, emotionally intelligent, and they use that charm and the ability to get close to you as manipulation. And when you know the difference is that perfection, like I said earlier, like real love is not perfect. It's inconvenient and it's painful, and it's just one of those things that you're going to screw up and you're going to say the wrong thing and you're going to do the wrong thing, and you're going to have to be accountable for that. And if you really love someone, you don't make it their fault. You don't make it any of those things. But for those who are love bombing for whatever reason, it has to be perfect, even to the point of being unrealistic. And that's the moving in, the commitment, the this, the that, like all of those things they're pushing for to make it perfect, to get you into their grasp. The sign of that too, and it's kind of the sign of an abusive relationship as well, is that that intense need to be, it's almost clinginess. And we can all be a little clingy in our relationships sometimes when we're not feeling great or we need some reassurance. We can all be a little clingy. We can need a little more. But those love bombers, they are going to want every single minute with you. They want to know where you are. They want to know what you're doing. You're gonna say you're doing something. Like maybe you're going out with your family, not even friends, family. They're going to text and call you nonstop. They don't know how to entertain themselves when you're gone. They don't know how to keep themselves busy other than you, because you are their target. They're going to demand all of your time and attention. Other people are going to start to notice this, and you may defend it as like, oh my gosh, no, he just cares about me so much. They want to know where I am. They want to know what I'm doing. But it's a really scary trait, and it's a very insecure thing. Like they need that reassurance. Like we said, they need that reassurance. They need someone to tell them that they love them. They need someone to tell them that they're great. They need someone to tell them that they're in. They need someone to tell them that they're committed. All of those things, but they want all of your attention all of the time. And if you are with someone that you love and you're a little eat up with, you want their attention. You want to talk to them all of the time. You probably want to, but you also know that's not realistic. You know that they have a job. You know that they have friends and family. You know that they go and do other things. You may want to check in. You may want those little things that are just common courtesies in relationships, but you don't need them to have their phone on you. You're not going to get mad when they don't answer you when they're out with friends or family or at work. And someone who is a love bomber is going to get mad at you. They're going to take it personal. They're going to feel like you don't care about them. That's why you're not answering. Why aren't you answering? Because you don't care about me. You just don't love me anymore. And you know how much I love you, and I can't believe you're doing this to me. These are the words of someone who is manipulating you in a relationship. Then they're going to try to make it right. Let's say they recognize that they're pushing a little too hard, and you may be like, I don't know that I want to do this. Then they're going to go over the top with maybe gifts. They may spend excessive amounts of money on gifts, and then it may become gift bombing with their love bombing. They may go in and buy your whole Amazon cart. They may go in and you come home or show up somewhere and then they've left you a brand new necklace or a computer or a tablet, because you mentioned in passing that you might want one. Expensive things that then you feel kind of obligated to stay. And it can be really weird. It can be excessive. And it may be someone you know that doesn't have the money for that. So why are they doing that? And you're going to go, well, okay, because they love me so much. But why would they, like, they're talking about not being able to pay bills, but they've gone out and bought this for you. Like, it's not going to be cohesive. And that's the important thing with any relationship, honestly. What is matching? Is action matching words? Are they doing what they say they're going to do? Are they being who they say they are? Are they consistent in their words and their actions? Are they independent as well as part of a relationship? Because even the best relationship, you shouldn't lose your independency, whatever word you want to put in there. You should still be your own person. You should still be able to go and do and enjoy the things you enjoy respectfully to your partner. And if you want them to be a part of it, then you let them be a part of it. But if it's something that, let's say you and your friends once a month go to dinner so you can catch up and kiki and do all the things, and you bro it up, you do whatever it is, you go to, somewhere in particular and you just have dinner and hang out, maybe you go have drinks, whatever it is. but it's you and your friend group, and this is a consistent thing that you had before them, or even something that started while you're with them, but it's a consistent thing that you do, they're going to be jealous when you do that. They're going to want to go along. They're going to blow your phone up while you're out doing that. They're not going to respect your time as an individual. And that is a giant red flag. This is not someone who just loves you so much they want to know what's going on in your life. If they loved you and respected you, they would be like, okay, cool. Like, I'll let you have your time, check in. I would love for you to check in. I would love for you to let me know what's going on, if you change locations or if you do anything, because, I worry and I want to just kind of know those little things, which is fine in a relationship. If you're with a worrier, like, it's fine to share locations as long as none of that is being used as abusive or manipulation. Me and the friends were just doing these things, and we walked over here and we were hanging out and having fun, and I was going to tell you all about it when I got home or when I called you on my way home or whatever it is. If they're using information that you're sharing with them as punishment in any kind of punitive way, in any kind of manipulative way, there's your red flag. This is not going to get any better, because then they're just going to start isolating you. You're not going to want to go out with your friends because it's too much work. If I go out with my friends, they're going to blow me up. If I go out with my friends, they're going to show up and do something. If I go out with my friends, they're going to punish me for it in some way, whatever that is. And that jealousy is really going to be overwhelming. It can get really, 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 really toxic. It's normal to feel a little jealous when your person wants to go do other things. Like, you may feel like, oh, but I want to do something with you, or why can't I go? And it's going to be, well, because this is what we do. This is just the friends. No one brings their partner, or it's my family and we're going to go do this. And I know that you wouldn't enjoy it. Maybe it is something you absolutely know they wouldn't enjoy. Why am I going to make you come to this? I'm giving you an out. Go do something you want to do. So jealousy is a normal part of relationship. How you act to that jealousy is what can be really problematic, because if you are jealous to the point where it is invasive, if you are jealous to the point where you have no grounds to be jealous, if you're jealous because they have friends and you don't, if you're jealous because they're going out and you're not invited, if you're jealous because they're spending time with someone that you know is someone they're friends with, and then they're not answering their phone, if you think something's going on, like, that's a you issue. You need to work on that. You need to work on your insecurities. You need to work on your jealousy. You need to let your person have their own life. Like, it's not healthy to be jealous when they're with anyone other than you. They're going to want to know where you are, but they're going to use it for their own needs. It's not a safety thing. It is that control. Well, why did you go there? Well, you didn't tell me you were going there. Why did you stop here? Who did you see? Why are you going there? What's happening there? You didn't tell me, blah, blah, blah. So it's really going to get like intensively overbearing and excessive, and it's going to be uncomfortable for you. Because it is normal in a relationship to want to know the whereabouts of your partner. And it's also normal to spend time apart. It's okay if, again, you have location trackers, but if you've taken a different route home, I'm not going to question you on it. If you stopped somewhere that wasn't on your agenda when you told me when you were headed somewhere, I'm not going to question you about it, because you probably stopped. It's fine. And that's how any kind of location sharing should be handled. It is not for punitive reasons. It is not a tracking system. It is not, well, I know you got home and you didn't call me, unless you're worried about them. Like, let's say they said, I'm leaving, and you live a distance apart, and they say, okay, check in with me when you get home. Okay, cool. And that's your pattern. That's always been the pattern. They leave your house or you leave their house. You get home, you shoot them a text. Hey, home, talk to you later. Good night. Love you. Whatever it is. They get home from your house. Hey, made it home. Talk to you tomorrow. Good night. Love you. Whatever it is. But then they leave your house and it's past the amount of time that they should be home. Significantly past, not like 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Significantly past the amount of time they should be home, and you haven't heard from them. It's okay to be worried. It's okay to check that location and be like, okay, you're home. Why haven't I heard from you? Like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And check in on that. Because if you have an established pattern with someone in a relationship and you start breaking that pattern, then the other person is going to have a reaction to that. And that's okay. And you should not get upset with them when you start breaking the patterns, because they're going to notice. And when consistency goes to inconsistency, that's when someone starts being insecure in their relationship. And it's when someone starts worrying about what's going on. So if you're consistent, stay consistent. And if you forget, or maybe you got on the phone with someone and you walk in your house and you're on the phone and you're bullshitting with your friend and all of that stuff, when your person messages you, is like, hey, are you home yet? You good? Instead of being pissed about it, you're like, oh my God, yes, I was going to message you when I got off the phone because I thought I'd be off the phone by now, but we're not off the phone. I'm on the phone with so-and-so. Yeah, I'm home. I'm good. Love you. Good night. Okay, cool. All I need to know. But if someone is ignoring those boundaries, if you're saying, listen, I'm going to go out with my friends, I'm not going to message you while I'm with my friends because it's rude. We're going to go to this place and have dinner, and then we may go over here to the bar. If we go to the bar, I'll message you and let you know I'm going to the bar. But otherwise, I'm not going to have my phone out. I'm not going to do any of these things. But yet, while you're at dinner with your friends or at the bar having drinks or whatever you're doing with your friends, playing golf, whatever it is, they are blowing your phone up. They're ignoring those boundaries. And we have a whole episode about boundaries, so go back and listen to that one. But when someone is ignoring your boundaries, that is one of the biggest red flags in a relationship, because they are trying to push it and push it and push it, because your boundaries are there to keep you safe. You put up those boundaries because you need them. Like, most people don't have unrealistic boundaries in their lives unless they need them, because it's what protects you from being hurt. It's what protects you from, going over the top, all of those things. When you have a boundary and someone keeps pushing it, it's a big red flag. Big red flag. We need the red flag guy from TikTok to come flying by. Love that guy. If you haven't followed him, go check him out. Can't think of his name right now, so apologize to the creator. Can't remember your name, but if you search red flag guy, you'll see his videos. They also are going to remind you how good you are together. When things start to feel off for them, when they think they're losing you, when they think, something is going on, they're going to remind you how special everything is and how they can change. And they're so sorry, which is not true, because they're not going to change. They're just going to find other tactics to learn how to control you. They're going to maybe remotely take accountability and take responsibility for their actions, but they're not really going to say, I'm going to change. They're just going to be like, oh, but I wish you wouldn't get upset by that. Like, I know it's just because I call you because I just love you so much and I just miss you so much. And I just wish you would answer me when you were out and it would make me feel better. But it wouldn't, because they would just keep calling, right? Because you've probably tried that. You've probably been out and answered them and said, hey, remember, I'm out with my friends. Is this important? And they're like, no, I just wanted to talk to you because I missed you. Okay, I miss you too, but I'll see you when I get home, or I'll see you tomorrow, or whatever it is. And then they keep calling. This is a tactic of control. And the next day, if you have this conversation of, listen, I was out with my friends and we had talked about you not doing that, but you did it. They're going to lash out, and they may get super critical. And again, they're going to pull on those intimate things that you've told them, those personal things that you've told them. They're going to make it your fault. They're going to turn it around. They're going to, but you, until they can try to distract the person from what you're really mad about. They're going to try to make it your fault. They're going to try to make you be in a position where you say, you know what, you're right. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that to you. I know that you have these issues, whatever it is that creates those things. Be on the lookout for just those red flags, especially in the beginning, because for someone who is a love bomber, for someone who this is their trait, mental health issue it is associated with, if they are a love bomber, it's going to start out really, really early. And it's going to lay that foundation for what they want. It can sometimes occur later in a relationship, but not very frequently. And if it does, it's because they are trying to bring you back. So something has happened, you've gotten settled in, they've been in control, they're getting all of their need met, you're getting none of your needs met, but you've settled and you're in this relationship, and maybe you feel like you can't get out of it, maybe you feel like they know too much, maybe they're threatening to use information about you on things, whatever it is that they have done. They've beaten you down, they've isolated you, all of those things that happen in abusive relationships. They may start the love bombing again if you say, I'm leaving. If you get to the point where you say, you know what, I'm out, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore, it's over, then that cycle of abuse will start back up. and they will start the love bombing again. They're going to idealize everything you had. They're going to come in hot with gifts and praise. They're going to try to maintain that. It doesn't really, raise those red flags. If you are embarrassed because of the intensity of your relationship, if you're embarrassed by how crazy your relationship is, how intense it is, how strong your feelings are for it, and you're downplaying it to other people because you are afraid it's too good to be true, you're still questioning it, there's something in you that's just like, oh, I don't know about this, then that may be a big giant red flag. But again, if the feelings are mutual, if you met someone and you had that lightning strike, you had that spark, you built that foundation, and maybe you built it without your friends knowing. Like maybe it was something that was ongoing and it happened quick because you did spend a lot of time talking and you did spend a lot of time, getting to know this person on an intimate level. And it was equally yoked. Like you were both matching energies. You were both sharing the same levels of intensity. No one was pushing. No one felt pulled into it. All of those things. That's great. You may be glowing. You may be so happy, but you're not going to be embarrassed of that. But if you're feeling that embarrassment about how it is and you're downplaying it, that may be your red flag, because these types of relationships, again, are not black and white because we don't know, but it feels like they are perfect. And when someone feels perfect, if someone feels too perfect, it's a red flag, because even the best partners, even the people that I have felt really pretty sure about, and also they do this, and also, there's this happening or whatever it is, which is something I can manage or whatever it is. But for someone who is going to love bomb you, someone who is a narcissist, which I even hate using that because it's such a buzzword, because there's really not a lot of true narcissists out there, but there are a lot of abusive people and a lot of toxic people. So if they are a toxic person, if they are using love bombing behaviors, there's not going to be any buts. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like this person is perfect. They say the right things. They do the right things. They make me feel this way. They bring me gifts. They're doing all of this. And it's because they have worked very hard to learn the behaviors that people want. They're kind of sociopathic in that way. They know what people want. They know how to make someone feel good. They know how to manipulate a situation. They know how to make it feel so good that you're just like, I just can't believe it. You probably shouldn't. Because if you're feeling overwhelmed, then it's probably a red flag. If they're giving you compliments, that's great. If they are showering you with compliments, if they are doing everything they can, it's coming from all the places, they're hitting all the marks, it can feel very discombobulating. It can feel very just that overwhelmingness of it. And it may feel really good, but then there's that part of you that's like, hey, hold on a second. This feels like, I don't know, something about this feels weird. And there are phases within the cycles of abuse with love bombing. And the first phase is kind of that idealization. It's where they are using everything to build connection, to build trust, to build intimacy, to build companionship, to get all of your information, all of those things. Then they're going to start using that devaluation. They're going to start criticizing you and putting you down. And the gaslighting, we talked about gaslighting a couple episodes ago, or last episode, I don't remember, but gaslighting is a big part of the narcissistic love bombing, toxic abuse, is that gaslighting. They're going to make everything your fault. They're going to make you feel bad about who you are, all of those things. And then when they decide to be done, they're going to be done. And they're going to have built you up and bomb you and bomb you and bomb you. And then they're going to ghost. It becomes really chaotic for you. it becomes very disheartening. It becomes very confusing. It becomes very hurtful for you because you don't understand it. You don't understand why they left. You don't understand how it could have been so good and then they just stopped talking to you. It doesn't make any sense to you. And you may beg for answers. You may ask for answers. You may seek it out and they're not going to respond to you. They're not going to answer you. And it's because they don't care. They never really were invested, that you were a means to an end for them. And maybe they found a new target. They're going to just disappear. And then you have to work through what did I do? Was this my fault? Am I a fool? Am I worthy? It can be really hard on your self-worth and your self-esteem. But it's one of those things where if you can sit back and examine that relationship from an outsider's view, if you can Truman show it, if you can watch it in your mind's eye without the emotions being a part of it, without your head being a part of it, if you can write down the story of you and that person, and then you may start to see those red flags. They may show up in what is happening, but then they may also check in on you. They may also send a message, hey, sorry about what happened. I just wanted to check in on you. I hope you're doing well. And then you may be like, oh my God, okay, maybe they realized, and you respond back and then they ghost you again. They never answer you again. They never do those things. So it's really important to recognize what is going on. And if you feel like someone has mistreated you in that way, and you feel like someone has been love bombing you and has been abusive in the relationship, block them on everything. Make sure that they don't have access to you. It can be a whiplash situation where you do start remembering the good times and then you get engaged with them again. You let them not engaged like to be married, but engaged in a relationship or conversations, and then they hurt you again. So we want to watch out for those signs. We want to pay attention to how things start off. It can be very secret, like they're really good at being sneaky about being excessive because it may feel good. They're going to be very, very, very charming. And, you need to learn about their behavior, about their tactics, ask about their past relationships and find out what's going on, and know yourself. You have to know what you want. You have to know what your patterns are. If you're seeking, someone to give you all of this attention and, whatever it is, then they're going to find you. If you haven't done the work on yourself, if you are not okay being alone and you are seeking for someone to complete you, for someone to be the other part, because you're nothing if you don't have a partner, then yes, you're probably going to end up in bad relationships. You're probably going to end up with abusive people. You're probably going to end up with someone who treats you poorly in the long run. You're allowing that to happen. And you just want to understand what you're doing and what's happening in that relationship. And if you do feel like you're being love bombed, if you do feel like someone is taking advantage of you, if there's something that just doesn't feel right, just get out of the relationship. If you know that you have done what you needed to do for yourself, if you have gone to therapy or you are working on yourself alone, because sometimes we can figure out things alone. If you have done the work, if you know what you're looking for and what your expectations are in a relationship, and you know what you need, and this person is feeling too good to be true, and you just don't think it's right. There's just something about it that feels fake. There's something about it that feels forced. There's something about it that it's not clicking, or they say one thing and their actions are another, or their actions are one thing when you're together and then you don't hear from them. And then they're like, well, but I was, I told you I was going to do my own thing and but I needed to meet up with you later. And they do that. Like there's ways that they can manipulate you in that situation. And if something doesn't feel right in your relationship, then it probably isn't. And you can have a conversation about that. because maybe you are ready for a relationship, but you still have some scars. You still have some wounds. So you say, I am ready for a relationship. I want to be in this relationship. All the boxes, as many of the boxes are being checked as they can. However, I need you to be patient with me when this happens because I may have this reaction or this may happen and I need you to tolerate that. And someone who is also healthy and ready to be in a relationship would be like, okay, I got you. We're going to do this together. And if it's a behavior that is super toxic and you want to change and they say they want to change and you see change, that's great. That's a relationship you should be in. That's a healthy relationship. That's something you should continue with. If they say, oh yeah, I know, I need to change it. Oh my gosh, I know, I'm working on it, but they're not working on it. They're not doing anything. You don't see any change. You don't see any progress. They're only making excuses. They're making it your fault. They're doing all of these things except for changing the behavior and working on themselves. That's not a relationship you need to be in because they are not ready for what you have to offer. It's important to recognize what you have to offer. Know that you are a catch. If you still a work in progress, be a work in progress and let people know that. But if you're ready and you're a catch and you're doing the things, don't settle. Don't fall into that complacency just because you don't want to be alone. And if you are in a situation where you just don't want to be alone and you're out there dating, you need to be upfront with people about that. Say, listen, I don't want a relationship. I'm not ready for a relationship, but I would really love somebody to hang out with. I want someone to come over and, hey, just come over, hang out with me and let's watch some TV or let's go to a movie sometime, but I'm not wanting a relationship. And if the other person is like, cool, bet, I'm in, because I'm not really ready for a relationship either, but I'm a little lonely and I would love to just have company. Perfect. Go do that. But if that's not the case and you're saying, yes, I'm ready, and then you're putting yourself out there and you're not ready, you're wasting someone's time and it's not fair. It's really, really shitty to do to someone that cares and is wanting a relationship, is looking for their person. Be ready, do the work. Don't be mean to people. Don't mistreat people. Handle people's hearts with care. You know, we've all had to break up with someone, or most people have in their lifetime. And it sucks because sometimes they're really good people. Sometimes they are a good match on paper. They just don't give you the tingles, or there's just something missing that you can't get past. That's okay. You are honest with them about that and you move on. And it may hurt them and they may not understand it at the time, but that gives them the opportunity to go and meet their person, the person that is going to honor and respect their heart, and the person that is going to give them what they need. Just be respectful of each other and love each other and be kind and don't mistreat someone's heart. And if you recognize these signs of being a love bomber, maybe this is your personality, then go ahead and work on that too. So if you recognize you're love bombing, stop it. But if you are just being genuine and you're coming in strong and hot because you do have genuine feelings about someone and you do feel like this person is your person, then be honest about that and know that it can be overwhelming for someone who has been in unhealthy relationships. Recognize that it can be a lot for someone who has been treated poorly. And if you truly love that person, even though you may be coming in hot, you're going to respect that. You're going to say, yeah, okay, you know what? I get it. It's a lot, but this is how I feel. And I just want you to know though. And you do with that what you need. If you don't feel the same way, that's okay. But I want you to know how I feel about you. I don't want there to be any questions asked. I don't want to play games. I don't want to manipulate the situation. You know, I don't want to do the jealousy, crazy things, all of that stuff, because some people do enjoy that. And some people think, you know, they always say, oh, it's about the chase. It's about the chase. You shouldn't be chasing anybody. You are a grown person trying to be in a relationship, whatever age you are. If you are trying to be in a relationship, a real relationship, and you're over the age of 22, 23, whatever it is, we're almost fully developed brains. But if you are an adult and you're having relationships, you should not be playing games with anybody. Yes, sometimes it works with people. You can play the jealousy game. You can act a little woohoo, you can act a little crazy in the relationship. You can be jealous. You can be possessive. You can start arguments so you can make up for things. You can do all of these things. But why? And why do you want that? Why do you need that? Why do you feel like that's a healthy relationship? Like, why do you want to be with someone that plays games? I mean, I know a lot of things and I could manipulate a lot of people in relationships. I know how to do that. I could be a terrible human. I was joking the other day that I could have been a cult leader. Like, I feel like I have the ability to be a cult leader. I don't want to do that because I don't want to hurt people. I want to be upfront and honest, and I don't want to play games because that seems like a lot of work to me. That's exhausting. So if you're in a relationship for funsies, if you're in a relationship and you're playing games with people's emotions and you're not being upfront and honest, or you feel like if I say this, it's going to push them away or whatever. If it does, it does. But if you care about that person and you're feeling a certain type of way, tell them or give them the signs, information, help them feel secure. You may not have to use the words, but help them feel secure. Give them the information to know that you are a safe place, a safe person, and someone that they can be in a relationship with. That if you're having a rough day or you need to work on something, that they can work on it with you. If you're having a hard time, then you need to go through some things, they'll go through it with you. And that is a healthy relationship. But we're not going to manipulate people. We're not going to play games. We're not going to ghost. We're not going to act like. We're not going to play games. We're not going to say one thing and do another. If you're having a hard time, you should talk to someone about that, especially if it's someone you say you love. If you truly love that person, you should be able to have the hard conversations with them too, because they deserve that. If you really loved them, you wouldn't want them guessing. If you really loved them, you would come back and have that conversation. If you really loved them, you would, let them know up front what's happening with you and going on and all of that stuff. Just be upfront and honest. If it feels too good to be true, it very well may be, but is it really feeling like it's too good to be true? You have to weigh out, is this too good to be true? Is this person too good to be true? Are they really saying all of the right things and doing all of the right things? Because that is a red flag, because no one is perfect and no one can do and say the right things all the time, but they may be doing and saying the right things for you. And that may be the perfect relationship for you. They may have the ability to talk to you and say the things that you need, all of that, but then they also get jealous or they say something weird or they say something wrong and you're like, oh, there it is. Okay, this isn't like, I don't feel like they're manipulating because they screwed up and they owned it and they did these things. So I can understand what is happening and I can understand all of these things. It's one of those things you just have to trust your instinct, trust your gut. If you are feeling insecure, if you are feeling uncomfortable, if someone is pushing it, you just feel off about it, if you feel weird, something is not right, and pay attention to that and really look inside yourself and say, is this just not right? Or is this my past stuff? Am I just not trusting that this person is who they are because of my past relationships, because I haven't healed that piece of myself? And you just have to figure that out. But I want everyone to be in those healthy relationships, whatever it takes. Pay attention, especially in the start of a relationship. If you recognize that you're in a relationship with someone that's abusive, there are ways out. You can reach out to friends, family. There's lots of resources online that can help you make a plan to get out of abusive relationships. If you're settled in your relationship and you're fine being settled and you're good with what you have and how it is for now, perfect. Love that for you. If you like it, I love it. But if you're not, you deserve happiness. You deserve to be in a relationship with someone you love and someone who loves you in return. And that's really, really what it's all about. So go out there, love each other, be nice. See you next week.
For my producer, Jay Lindley, I'm Leslie Ross. Thank you all for joining us. Please send any questions or comments through the website, heytherapist.com, or email help@heytherapist.com. They may be featured on the show anonymously. Hey Therapist is an SEOK radio production and is for your entertainment purposes only. Thank you for joining us. Make good choices.